Hello, everyone.
Good morning. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you, everyone, for joining this webinar today with John and myself. We might just hang out for a couple of minutes maybe and just let people kind of trickle in. But yeah, really appreciate so many people attending already. It's great to see. We've got some interesting stuff to share with everyone today, so that's going to be cool. And yeah, always very happy to welcome everyone's feedback and ideas and yeah, just general general inclusion in on the webinar because these sessions really are designed to interact with everyone who kind of uses the platform and uses cadcow.com. And as you know, we're a startup, so John and I don't like to pretend that we kind of know everything or have all the answers or know the best direction for the company. We really have built this company from real world feedback from people like yourself. So please feel free to leave us a message in the chat zone. John's going to be monitoring that zone there on the chats and kind of filtering those questions through to me. Both of us will be more than happy to answer them as well. But yeah, I think John's also going to be sharing a link to a feedback form as well. So if you don't feel like putting up a chat, putting a message in the chats, please feel free to head on over to that feedback form. You can leave an anonymous message there as well. That's an option. You don't have to provide your information. So yeah, we'd also like to say that you can book some time with us as well. John and I are an open book. John's going to share a link to the meeting calendar invite section, so you can you book some time with us if you want to chat about anything, whether that might be some new ideas or some issues or some concerns or just questions or, yeah, you just want to kind of get a better feel for what it is we're doing and where we're going with this. Feel free to book some time with us. So, that's available as well.
Yeah, I just dropped both links there in the chat. And yeah, I just wanted to add to the feedback that we do review them internally, all the feedback we receive. So yeah, any comments and feedback are very welcomed. And yeah, and if you like to have a session, like Kendra said, with us, directly with us, and if you have any issues or just to share some of your ideas, you can just book a time with us and we'll take it from there.
All righty, why don't I get this started here? I'm going to try to present. Okay, I hope everyone can see that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to
It's
go
coming
through
through here.
some, great.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
before you
so,
get started, Andrew, I just wanted
yep.
to mention we have a Q&A section here on the meeting, and then you can just add your questions there, or you can just drop them into the chat as well as we go. Yeah, feel free to drop them as we're presenting these suggestions and ideas, and we'll get them in the conversation as well.
Great. Okay. Yeah, so I wanted to backtrack a little bit and just kind of recap on what we've been working on for the last few months. Not kind of in every small detail, but yeah, just kind of maybe get some people up to speed on what we've been working on. Probably for the last, I would say, at least 6 months. Although the kind of ideas have been happening well before that. Some of these ideas, we presented in the last couple of webinars as well as we were working on them. But yeah, just to kind of go back on things, previously, we're a Canadian startup, based in Toronto essentially, and what we were doing at that time, was essentially connecting individuals with companies across Canada. And that's really great. But the big picture for John and I is to make this a global platform that people can connect and work with companies and individuals anywhere. Big component of us being able to do that was this kind of idea to expand into the US. That was essentially fueled by our payment provider, Stripe. So Stripe is a US company, and they have a lot more functionality in their US platform than they do in the Canadian one. So yeah, we have since incorporated in the US, looked after our kind of legal aspects for the user agreements for the US, created the US Stripe account. So US Stripe essentially, enables us to, let me just go back here, enables us to not only continue operation in Canada, we still actually have Canadian Stripe as well, but it also enables us to kind of access places outside of the US for the rest of the world. For companies, and now this webinar is actually the first time that we've got both sides of our platform potentially present during this webinar. We've hopefully got some people from architecture and interior design firms, but also we've got the individuals, the professionals attending here as well. So I need to kind of remember that to kind of address this from both sides. But if you're a Canadian company or a Canadian professional, you want to still work in Canada, and collaborate, that's still obviously possible. If you're in the US and you want to work with US professionals and US companies, that's obviously possible. It is possible now, to work cross-border. So, US companies can engage Canadian professionals and vice versa. And also, people located around the world, are also able to, operate mainly through the USA Stripe and with US dollars as well. But essentially, this has enabled us to expand, globally, or has the potential for us to expand globally, although we are kind of taking it step by step. So you might now see on your profiles or on people's profiles on the platform that if you are in Canada, you're going to start seeing Canadian dollars attached to your account. And likewise, if you're in the US or the rest of the world, you're going to start to see US dollars. We are hoping to expand at some point, enabling lots of different currencies. But at the moment, if you're located outside those two countries, the currency you're going to be working in is US dollars, which seems to be the sort of the best scenario for most people if they can't select their own country's currency. Another major component, if you've started working with a client, you're going to see greatly improved billing section, and this is for clients as well. When you're engaging with a professional, you're going to see a much easier to understand billing section that kind of breaks things down. So for professionals, you're going to be able to see the amount that was charged to your client and your related payments underneath that. You're going to see the payment status now as well. So if there has been any problems, with a client paying for your services, you're going to be able to see that, maybe there's some sort of payment failure or something like that. So that'll enable you to kind of take action on that and kind of manage the payments with your client. It's kind of a step into kind of giving more control to you, the individual, as a professional, to kind of manage the relationship you have with clients, and kind of vice versa with clients being able to manage professionals. You're going to be able to have a little bit more transparency and control over the billing and payments. Same with bonus time. So, if you're, adding more time on top of your package, you're going to see what the client was charged and then how that relates to your own remuneration. So if I just go to the next slide here, we've essentially, completed this top component. So that was enabling Canadians, Americans, and rest of world to, essentially do e-commerce. And that is then filtered down into the Canadian Stripe or US Stripe, depending on where you're located. The piece of the puzzle that we're still missing, and this is kind of the future development item that's basically at the top of our list, is Stripe Connect. So right now, we kind of manually pay bills behind the scenes, to professionals. What we really want to move to, though, is a much more automated system. So we're using Stripe. Stripe Connect essentially is, if you're an individual, you can create your own Stripe account and link that with your account on CAD COW and have your payments paid to your Stripe Connect account. That gives you a lot more control and security and faster payments. And you can then essentially connect your financial institution of choice to your Stripe account. So having your own Stripe account will allow you to kind of get a better gauge on your own finances, on what you're earning via the CAD COW platform, and be able to link your financial institution of choice and be able to get paid more securely and quicker. I saw a thumbs up from someone there, so yeah, I'm glad that's resonating with people. Yeah, we just certainly do our best to pay people as quickly as possible. But yeah, it's still a very manual process for us. And, assuming clients are paying their bills on time, it doesn't, we try to pay out as well as quickly as we can, but it doesn't always run that smoothly. As I said, it's still quite a manual process behind the scenes, even though it might seem quite automated on the platform already. And we try to give that experience that these are quite automated payments. The reality is, this would be a much better system. Much quicker, much more secure, and it just gives the people, you guys, much more control over your finances. So that's kind of that major component. The sad reality is, though, it's a very expensive component for us to develop. We were hoping to have this in by the end of the year. But it looks like, after having discussions with our website developers, the expense is starting to add up, as it always seems to right now. And it might get kind of pushed till next year. But we're kind of still hopeful we might be able to make something happen. But yeah, this is probably, being almost through November now, this is probably realistically a 2025 development item.
Yeah, we actually have a question here, Andrew, about this. So
Okay.
RJ was asking, will there be an alternative to the Stripe payment system in the future?
It would be kind of another round of development, I think.
Yeah.
Stripe's pretty powerful, so even if and it's very global. There's very few countries that don't permit the use of Stripe. So it should be pretty accessible to 99% of people. And I believe you can link other payment providers as well, with Stripe. So yeah, I mean, what are you able to dig a little deeper there, John, and sort of see exactly what the concern is?
Yeah, well, yeah, RJ, if you want to maybe expand a little bit on your question about, do you have any other suggestions or ideas of other platforms that potentially like to be using on the platform? Because we do have the question eventually that people ask if they can connect their Wise account or their PayPal and that sort of thing. But I assume then they would have to connect those accounts to the Stripe Connect for them to be linked up.
Yeah, it's my understanding that say a platform like PayPal can potentially be connected with Stripe, but those other ones that you mentioned, John, I'm not sure on. But
Yeah.
I mean, it would be cool to hear what's important to you guys and what payment providers you guys prefer, and we could then sort of look into how that might integrate. Because if someone's got a certain need for some reason, no doubt you're not the only one. So it'd be interesting to hear what your kind of situation circumstances are.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, John.
Yeah. So yeah, RG was just adding that the accessibility of Stripe is good, but it takes a percentage of the overall payment for it to be processed. So it's that Stripe, that famous
Right.
Stripe fee, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you guys won't have to worry about the Stripe fee. That's already integrated on the client side into, they basically are paying for the Stripe fee, or at least in some ways, actually, it's coming out of, CAD COW's essentially paying for the Stripe fee. We absorb the Stripe fee is probably the best way to describe it. So the Stripe fee doesn't actually affect what you guys would be earning as professionals, that's for sure. So it's not taken out of your payments. And it's my understanding that to transfer money from our platform Stripe account to your Stripe Connect, doesn't have any fees. And I don't believe it then has any fees transferring those funds to your bank account.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's about fees, we've kind of considered that on the front end, taking payments on the client side. And yeah, that's essentially absorbed into, CAD COW's overheads. Yeah, we were thinking about passing the Stripe fees on. We might kind of try to make it a bit more transparent on where the Stripe fees sit in the overall fee structure. But yeah, essentially, it's something that CAD COW kind of absorbs into its overheads.
Yeah, and I think there's a potential also to reduce the Stripe fee as the platform grows as well, right? I think this is something we can do by reaching out to Stripe and negotiating a flat fee, and I think that's it's possibility, let's say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so this is kind of a new component we wanted to table, and it kind of links in with Stripe Connect. It's the ability for professionals on the platform to create your own custom products and services. So right now on CAD COW, it's sort of like just work, being paid by the hour. You're working for a client and you're being paid for those hours that you're working. It's just a very simple remuneration kind of structure. But we certainly have identified that it would be nice for the platform to be an e-commerce hub for you and your sort of professional capacity, and that you could if you've got some skills or products or services outside the sort of general scope of work within the architecture, interior design, engineering industry, you could kind of offer those via your own kind of shop front experience on CAD COW. So that would kind of link in with Stripe Connect. It would, you'd be specifying your own products and services, your own pricing, and then that would be then connected with your Stripe account as well. So you could be earning additional income beyond just being engaged with a company, and yeah, just have a lot more flexibility to offer whatever it is that you want to offer. And that kind of might then expand into, if you clicked on a product or service, you might be able to, maybe it's a digital offering, maybe it's a rendering, but also maybe it's some sort of physical service like measure ups, and you could offer that service within a particular geographic location. So yeah, there's lots of thoughts on how we can, create this shopfront zone. But if you've got any great ideas, or if you've got any ideas on what types of services you want to offer, we'd be certainly interested in hearing about it, because it'd be interesting to see how those, services, how we might need to build the platform for you to offer those types of services. So yeah, so Stripe Connect is definitely a big part of next year. It's kind of the missing piece of the puzzle. It's what all the big platforms use. As you can see, like they advertise DoorDash here on Stripe. On the Stripe website, but it really completes the payment puzzle here, and it helps get funds globally from one party to another. And yeah, I can't see us being able to kind of expand, in the capacity that we need to continue to grow without a payment provider like Stripe. But sadly, like I said, it's a very costly development item, and yeah, we're kind of running out of time for this year to get this one done, even though we were hoping to do so. So yeah, we might have to save our pennies essentially to pay for this one, and yeah, make that part of 2025. So the next component I wanted to bring up again, and this was something we pitched to you guys a couple of webinars ago, and that was the ability for professionals to specify your own hourly rate. Now we showed this widget here, which would enable you to punch in essentially what hourly rate you want to be earning, and it would kind of guide you on an hourly rate that we believe the market would be willing to pay for someone of your experience level. We are trying to protect the architecture industry by not kind of undercutting the industry, and we are trying to guide people into not kind of overpricing yourselves as well, because there's no point being on here if you've got a very high fee. The reality is that companies won't engage with your services, because there's just kind of more competitive pricing. So we are playing a very difficult juggling game on kind of like guiding the pricing. That's all part of the onboarding process now, where we sit down and kind of go through your experience and say, okay, typically someone of your experience is probably around this hourly rate, and you kind of give us your feedback, and it's kind of a bit of a back and forth, and then yeah, we kind of land on something. But we as part of giving more control to you guys as professionals, we want to hand this very important component over to you to be able to specify your own hourly rate, to be able to change it easily as well. Yeah, this component ended up turning out to be very expensive to develop. So we actually kind of went back to the drawing board a little bit and came up with this other idea, where part of the editing of your profile, you would have this hourly rate component. Now, it's not as pretty and fancy, but it essentially does the same thing. And once you exit back out, you'll then be able to see how that affects the pricing that is displayed publicly. But yeah, once again, this kind of component is still very expensive, and yeah, we've kind of run out of cash for this year. We've done a lot of development, but 2025 is a new year, and we hope for this one to be one of the first kind of cabs off the rank for the next round of development. And yeah, John and I wanted to pitch kind of a new idea for 2025. And that is this kind of idea of creating CAD COW into social media or a professional networking zone. Now, we do connect companies and professionals via cadcow.com, but it's very kind of work centric, and it's very yeah, just kind of related to the engagement of services. And we've got this idea that as you guys are sort of publishing your work, it might actually be an interesting idea to kind of share that across the community on the CAD COW platform. And thus, in thus doing, kind of creating a community zone as well. So right now, the project tiles kind of look like this. And, this kind of relates to companies as well. I want to kind of make sure I'm talking to, people who might be coming from architecture and interior design firms. The ability for you guys also to share your work is an important aspect. If you want to, get a new project out there that you've just completed, this is a way in which you would be able to do that to a community that is really interested in, the work you're doing. So right now, the project tiles that we've created kind of look like this, but we're thinking we can relatively easily change them into something that looks like more of a social media post. It would obviously enable the person who published it to be present, and the ability for people to kind of like or star those posts, and publish the descriptions and comments and things like that as well. And that might kind of look like something like this on the platform, where individuals would be posting work. You would see the most up-to-date posts that they've done. You'd see past posts, and you'd scroll down, and each person would kind of have a line, and you could kind of sort of see what the most recent stuff is and past stuff. And this is both for professionals and for companies, like I was saying. So if you operate an architecture firm and you just want to post about some cool stuff you've got going on in your office, you could also be part of this. It's a good way for people to get noticed as well, and just to kind of share in the architecture and interior design industry kind of community. And if I then click on through here, this is what it might look like on your profile. You would simply have the past projects that you've posted. These could either go into your portfolio on your profile, but you would have the ability for them to also be sent to the social media zone. So as you're adding projects, you can be adding them to your portfolio, posting them to your social media as well, and you simply do that through this kind of add post button. So that's something we've kind of been dreaming up now, sort of for the past 12 months, and yeah, very early days yet, but we're hoping that might be a 2025 component as well. And I think that kind of wraps it up. Yeah, it does. So yeah, I'd like to kind of hand the conversation over to everyone. Yeah, we'd love to hear your feedback on some of those ideas, and yeah, if not now, please feel free to leave us some comments in the forms that John's been sharing.
Yeah, for those who joined us halfway through, I sent 2 links in the beginning of the meeting. One is for the feedback form, so you can just use that one to send your suggestions and comments. And the second link is for booking a meeting with us. So if you like to have a chat with Andrew or myself or both of us, you can just book a time there, and then we essentially booking a meeting to talk about whatever you have in mind in terms of like feedback, or if you're having issues with the platform or anything. Maybe we can open, some space here for people if you have any specific questions or anything that is not necessarily related to the presentation, but if you have other general questions, feel free to drop them here, and we are happy to answer them.
Yeah, is there any more thumbs up maybe, like on the ideas? Do people like thumbs down, thumbs up?
I only saw one
I saw a
thumbs
thumbs
up.
up. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Oh, there's one.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, I
well,
guess. Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
No, go for it. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, I think we have plenty of ideas that we've sort of gathered throughout the year. We have, a full list of things that we want to implement, and we're doing our best to, prioritize them, of course. And yeah, we're very hopeful that 2025 is going to be a great year for us to put these ideas in development and implement them on the platform. So yeah, we're very excited for the new year. So yeah.
Yeah. Big thanks to everyone for being not just part of this webinar. It was great to see so many of you here today, and it's a privilege for us to be sharing our ideas with you. But we really appreciate you just being part of CAD COW's adventure, as we say. This is a startup journey that John and I are on. We've come from nothing, just the two of us, doing freelance drafting into what CAD COW is today, 3 years later. Without people like yourself, it certainly wouldn't be possible. And, we really, appreciate your support and for you being part of this. So, yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, and I think this is also a great, opportunity for you guys to participate because you have this direct channel of communication with us, and Andrew and I were both basically dedicated to CAD COW and developing CAD COW, and yeah, we do take in consideration every comment that we receive, and we structure that, and as I said, we have our own internal procedures to review all the feedback and prioritize things. So yeah, feel free to truly share your thoughts. And if you have any brilliant ideas as well, bring them forward and we'll be happy to review them. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Maher.
All righty. Well, yeah, if there's no last comments or questions, we might wrap this one up.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else here, but yeah. Yeah, I think Ahmed is yeah. Thank you, Viola.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, everyone. Yeah,
Thanks, everyone.
guys. Yeah, you have a great day, and we'll catch up soon in the next webinar.
Have a good one. See you, everyone.
Yeah, have a good one.
Bye.